looking at our top tips for standing out in the competitive industry. We've got Emma, who will run through some marketing techniques to gain landlord leads, and we'll also discuss about getting yourself out there and becoming an industry leader. It's not just about generating new leads though, it's about squeezing what you can and find out what your contacts and maximising the potential of your current database and customers. At the end of the presentation, we'll also be giving away a free handout, which will help with goal setting and conversion rates. So let's kickstart the webinar with some introductions.
So I'll start by introducing yourself, Sarah. So I'm joined by the North's top lettings guru, Mrs. Sarah Stevenson. Sarah's been in lettings for over 15 years, and she's worked for brands such as Countrywide and Purple Bricks. She recently joined us at Source and is the lettings director for Source Living, and I'm thrilled to be presenting this webinar with her today, in which we're going to dish out some of the best practices on being successful in lettings.
Thanks, Emma. It's lovely to join you. Emma's also worked in the Source Living team now and has been with Source for over 6 years. She has over 14 years experience in marketing and ops and has helped to make the systems and processes that we've got in place more efficient, and not just for me and the team, but also for our franchise network as well.
Thanks, Sarah. So as I am part of the furniture, because I've been here for so long, I'll run through quickly just what Source is as a group. So starting with Source Capital. Source Capital is our peer-to-peer lending platform of the business. We've got 2 franchises under the Source Group umbrella, and we fund the Source Property franchisees deals. So these are property investment deals. And as an investor, if you're investing into any of these deals, you can earn up to 12% per annum, property backed. Obviously, capital is at risk. It is a FCA regulated industry, and we are a FCA regulated firm. So that's Source Capital. Source Property. So this is one of the franchises we have. It's also a resource for property investors. They can learn a lot on our app. We've got an app which has off-market properties to invest in. It's a free app. You can download it on the Google Store or on the Apple Store. And you can go on there and browse different investment properties. They're all packaged up to show you what returns you can get and things like that. We've also got a finance arm to the business, and these are mortgages designed specifically for property investors. So it's looking at strategies, including buy-to-let portfolios, HMOs, developments, etc. And Source Living. So this is the lettings side of the business. It is flexible lettings. We've got lots of bespoke systems. We have a franchise section to this as well, which you can join and use our systems. You can be trained upon anything lettings, and you are provided with leads and support. And obviously that includes a nationwide brand and group network, so you're part of the whole group.
So a reason why you might be joining us today is that you are struggling in a challenging market, such as market changes, especially if you do sales as well as lettings. There's been a slowdown in the sales market recently, which you will have seen in the media. Inflation, this has made it more expensive to run a lettings agent. Property owners do their homework, they make informed decisions, they are savvy and no longer are sold to in the same way as they used to be. There's lots of competition in the industry. You cannot sit back and wait for landlords and tenants to come rushing through the door. Not that they always have done, but I think there's a lot less out there to poach. Knowing your worth, this is a big one for me. A lot of agencies provide services for little or no money, and we really need to start being more European in that way. They really charge what their worth is. Productivity: without the right systems and tech in place, you may not be running your agency as efficiently as you can be. And these are all things that are going to be covered in our free handout at the end, which we'll be able to send out to you.
So make sure you stick around, and we will send that to those that are still watching at the end.
So our next thing that we're going to discuss is setting lead generation goals. So align lead generation goals with overall business goals.
So I'll pick up on this one. So I wanted to give you kind of a bit of an example on this. So if you're setting lead generation goals in your business, what I would suggest you do initially is have a meeting with everyone in the management team in your business. So to determine your goals basically and your business growth projections. So if your company is looking to grow, for example, 5% in revenue over the next 12 months, you need to figure out basically how many leads you need to generate in order to close 5% more customers or revenue. So in order to determine how many leads you need to produce to meet an increase in revenue goals, you'll need to know the average sale price and close rates of your leads. So if we look at this as an example, let's say you need to generate £100,000 in revenue per quarter to hit your goal for the year. If the average rent per quarter is £3,000, then if we look at dividing that, that's looking at just over 33 new properties, which means 11 customers per month. And let's say your average close rate is 10%, that means you're going to need to generate 110 leads per month to reach your goal. So it's always good to kind of work it back through this way, so you can kind of figure out how many leads you're going to need, and then your team can work on closing.
Yeah, it's a really good way to set targets personally and for your team. But it's not just about quantity of leads, is it? It's also about quality.
Yeah, definitely. So it can be quite easy to get leads. Obviously I've got a background in marketing, but if those leads aren't relevant to you or your business, you're just going to waste time. You can easily set clickbait ads up and get people's details, but if they're not landlords, then what's the point? You're just going to be kind of chasing your tail. So you've got to make sure you're measuring both, really. You've got to make sure you're measuring the quantity but also the quality. If your current conversion rate of your regular leads, let's say it's 1%, and then your conversion rate of quality leads is 10%, then you're going to yield the same number of new customers, but with more efficiency.
Okay. To determine what a qualified lead is for your business is key.
Yeah, definitely. A qualified lead is someone that's obviously more likely to convert as a customer. I don't know if any of you do this already, but do you give your leads a score? So we have a system in place where we score our leads. Any of the sales guys would get those leads on board, and then they would speak to them, and they would measure and score that lead, and that gets fed back to the marketing team as well, so they can hone down and make adjustments with their marketing efforts. You can score things like based on different things. So it might be the information they've submitted. It might be like speaking to them over the phone, how engaged they are with your communication. So if they're opening all your emails, this means that you and your agents then can prioritize leads appropriately. So your agents can really focus on those that have got a high lead score.
Yeah, it's a really good tip by scoring them. And then you can communicate your goals and motivate your team.
Yeah, so if you make sure you explain the business reasons for your new goal and the positive impact this change will have. For example, if you're switching your goal to decrease overall lead volume, but generating more qualified leads, the motivation behind this might be to leverage your existing leads database and make sales more efficient. So by having like smaller, either weekly or monthly goals, you can help your team feel productive and help keep them motivated as well. And I think it's really important that through that you should celebrate the milestones. So say if you've got weekly targets, I don't know, you might treat the team, or even if it's just great guys, like we've done it. It just keeps you motivated knowing that you're on track. Some other things as well that you should consider actually on that point is that the past ability of your team to execute on that new goal. So have a look at your historical lead volume to see if your new goals are in fact achievable. You don't want to be putting goals in place and demotivating everyone if they're just unrealistic.
So track and measure.
Yeah. So you want to always make sure you're tracking and measuring what you're doing. And it's the most important step when setting a new goal. You should be measuring your progress daily and tracking it against your daily goals. So you know you're going to hit your weekly, monthly goals. If you're down one day, then next day you can act fast and make up for the leads that you didn't generate and get back on track. So moving on to standing out in a competitive industry. First of all, I think you should know your competition.
Yeah, most definitely. You need to do your research. So a biggie for me, I've started a number of cold start branches and lettings, is doing a SWOT analysis of the local area and the local market. Look at what your competitors doing. So look at their marketing position, see what they're getting right, and also see what they're not doing so well. Look at how they're performing on their social medias and which channels that they're most successful on. But also the big question that you need to ask is, if you were a landlord, how would you choose your competitor, or would you choose yourself? And that's how you look to in the market from a landlord's point of view.
Real. And also knowing your audience as well as your competition.
Yeah, of course. You can't sell to everyone, so there's no point in trying. So you just need to identify the characteristics of your target audience. This could be age, gender, interests, income, shopping preferences, local schools. Ofsted's a big one. People are moving to different areas because of schools or for a job. Who are the big employees in that area? You need to build a detailed picture of your customer, and this will be based on the customers who have had to work with the past and the data you've gathered from those interactions. So it's all about maybe not having repetitive or repeat business, but knowing that, so Mr. and Mrs. A are exactly the same and looking for the same as Mr. and Mrs. B, who are tenants. And once you've got a clear picture of who you're actually selling to, it will be easier to tailor your marketing and service to them.
Fab. Innovate and personalise.
Yeah, once you know who your audience are, you can customise your offers to best meet their requirements and preferences. So, for example, if a family's moving and they're moving in the 6 weeks holiday, you know that they have basically justified not going on that family holiday that year. So there could be something that you could work with the landlord to make families move in that area, especially if the school's really, really good. So offering them maybe a 3 months rent or 50% off the first month's rent if the landlord allows that. That's a really, customer focused approach for them. Using information and tools like from surveys, tweaking your offer to meet the personalised requirements for your customers will help to build loyalty and retain custom. So you do want them to come back. They might outgrow that house, they might have another baby, and they want to just come back to you. A loyalty scheme could play a massive role here as well. It's also important not to be complacent. It's important to keep innovating and introduce new services and options to keep ahead of your competition.
Brilliant. And finding your niche and unique selling point.
Hone in on a service or feature that will make you stand out from the crowd. It could be that you focus on the luxury market, or you're sustainable, you have green values. It might be that you want to emphasize value for money. Whatever it is, you've got to make sure that your brand capture it and showcases it.
Yeah, I think that's so important. You
Yeah.
wanna make sure that there's something different about you to another agent in your area.
Yeah, massively.
Be an expert.
Yeah, use your online presence to position yourself as an expert and a trusted voice. Knowing the local new cafe that's opened in the area and going and having like a little conversation with the owner is massive. I know an agent that's put, at Christmas time, put kids drawing, colouring pictures in a little cafe, and then he's ran a little competition. He haven't won anything big, but they've won something, and he's known in the local area. So, you know, you can do it that way where it's quite warm and not as really market structured. Or you could run regular blogs on legislation tips and post videos demonstrating on how to perform different parts of your business. You've got to build your reputation and you'll ensure that your business is the first port of call for prospective customers.
Brilliant. And 5-star reviews.
This is a biggie because, like, how often do you read reviews before purchasing a product or a service?
Well, if it was me, everything.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Emma is an elephant.
People don't know what that means.
Well, very strict in what she does. I'm a bit of a monkey, so I most probably wouldn't if it was a small purchase. But if it was a big purchase, like a white goods, for example, even bigger, a house, then
Or
I
a
would.
holiday.
Yeah, I would read the reviews, especially if it was an independent travel agent that I was using.
Exactly.
Which
Yeah.
is exactly the same as a local lettings expert. So customers look for online reviews for businesses. They also showcase testimonials and make case studies to show off what you do for your customers. So Google, Trustpilot, they're massive. They're so popular. Checking your reviews in this way will let you know you're getting what's right and what's wrong. And it also means you can tweak negative reviews. Don't shy away from them. Reach out to customers that have left a negative feedback because we're only all human at the end of the day. And lettings, there is massive number of mistakes that tenants, landlords, and agents do. And the only thing we can do from that is learn from their mistakes. So by looking that you're responsive to negative comments for a prospective landlord is really, really important.
Yeah, and you can win around that customer.
Yeah.
So you can not only turn it into a negative to a positive with that one customer. Anyone, like you say, prospective customers looking on at that review can see that you've handled it well.
Yeah, if you want to be the local expert in the area, you can't shy away from negative criticism. You've got to see every bit of criticism as constructive.
Yeah. Be consistent with your communication.
Ensure that your branding and communication is consistent across all your channels. So this includes email marketing, brochures, and social media. Make sure you're also consistent with the frequency of posting and your communications.
Yeah, I think if some people start to kind of start posting on social media and things like that, but I know you get really busy and it kind of gets put off, but to keep that consistency will only help build you and your brand and make you stand out. If you forget to do this often, then it's just kind of a bit pointless. You've got to be consistent with that messaging, haven't you?
Especially with all the algorithms.
Yeah.
It's obviously that's your
in social media. If you're consistently posting your algorithm, it only is better for you and your page.
Yeah.
It gets seen more. Social responsibility as well.
Yeah, so have policies in place on issues such as sustainability, as many consumers are making purchasing decisions more and more based on these factors recently. So if you use local suppliers, shout about it, or if, eco-friendly products in a HMO and an SA property that you're listing for a landlord and it's fully furnished, then shout about that. Operating with a zero waste approach as well. Talk about it in a tasteful way so customers are aware. Also, if your business has a charity of the year that it raises money for, show your efforts on social media to show you are giving something back to community. This is what it all comes back to. It's being present in the community, however that be charity, being an expert, you've born and bred from the area, use that to your advantage.
I think with stuff like that as well, it doesn't just stand out to your customers. I think it stands out to your potential employees as well. if you're looking to bring on new staff and you're showing a commitment to the environment, or you're showing a commitment to local charities, and you're showcasing the fun that you might have by doing that as well. Like if I was looking in a position looking for a job like that, things like that stand out to me. So it's not just about standing out to your customers as well. It's about getting the best staff too.
Yeah,
in that way too.
Yeah.
So moving on. So the best marketing techniques to gain landlords.
Oh yeah, how to do that, I know. So everyone wants to know. So I'm a biggie for this one. Networking.
Yeah. So obviously people buy from people. Hone down on local events to you. So whether it's business events, obviously landlords are within different industries. They're not all in the property industry. You could also go to some property networking events too. And when you're there, don't go with a head of like, I'm here to sell. Show an interest in others and in their businesses. And just get to know people, because then you'll get a reputation for being a nice person to know. And I think the thing is, again, with networking as well, you've got to give it time. You've got to be consistent in going to these events and seeing the same faces. It's not going to kind of come straight away, but if you do make a connection, follow it up with them. Let them get to know you as well because they have contacts and they may refer you in the future as well. So it might not be that they're the right person to sell to when it kind of comes down to it, but they may know landlords or potential tenants or whoever. So
social media.
So with social media, you might consider getting some expert professional support to help you get started with a social media strategy. You might want to build content such as interviewing local business people and others in your community. It might get more kind of views within your community and keep others engaged with you as well. What I recommend with a social media is, especially if you're doing it from a business kind of page point of view, is make sure it is professional, and the messaging that you're putting out there is professional, but you can show your personality. So show people the real you, but obviously keep in mind that professionalism as well.
Yeah. Online ads.
So again, if you're new to anything like online ads and things like that, it can be a bit of a minefield. So I would take advice from an expert, but online ads can prove to be a real lead generation winner as well, because you can easily manage and monitor your return on investment on your advertising spend, and you can use these ads in conjunction with your online funnel system as well.
That's very smoothly brought me onto funnels, Emma. You should start presenting.
So funnels. So for those that aren't aware, when you're building an online lead generation system to capture and nurture your leads, you want to test and apply the right process for converting them leads into paying clients, and you want to funnel them into this nurture system. So you might, for example, create a guide for landlords with lots of property letting tips, and this could be used to capture the details of potential landlords, and then through that funnel you would offer them extra kind of nurturing and content, but you'd also be following them up and offering them a valuation. So it is about kind of capturing, kind of bringing it back to the beginning when I went through that example. You're capturing 110 leads to get 11 converted
Yeah.
into a sale. So yeah, you've got to keep nurturing them
Yeah.
through the funnel.
Funnel's like a word at the moment, isn't it? It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's a buzzword, that buzz term that's been around in marketing for a long time, really. But I think especially in the lettings market, it is buzzy.
Yeah, no,
Buzzy at
definitely.
the minute.
So case studies.
Yeah. So as an agent, whether you've got your own business or whether you work for somebody, you want to get case studies on what you've done for your clients. You want to show people how you've changed their lives and how you've helped them. So with this, video is amazing. Everyone consumes video every day. Ask your clients for video testimonials in exchange for something. They might be happy to do it anyway. And use them on your social media and on your website. This is content that you can be pushing out there to everybody.
Yeah, I think people are scared of video, but it's so instrumental on getting that local expert feel, isn't it?
And I think people are rusty when they first start doing it, but you get into it and it kind of comes more naturally. We'll all be presenters.
Personalised letters.
So obviously a lot of agents go back to traditional marketing efforts as well, and they send a number of void letters each week. Obviously it's good to do a mix of all these different marketing techniques, and letters is still on there because but the thing is you don't want to make them generic. You want to go to the effort and make them specific for each property. You're going to get better results from that. It's going to give you a better chance of success. So let landlords know that you've got high caliber of tenants available. Tell them that you understand their issues and the problems they're having, and tell them that you're the agent to solve it.
Yeah. And nurture your contacts. Oh no, sorry, referrals.
Yeah, you
sorry,
on it.
I did.
Referrals. So with referrals, I would develop a strategy. You could call all your current landlords. Obviously, if you're working well and your landlords are all happy with you, but call all your current landlords. Do they know anyone else who's also a landlord with a property to let? Offer them a referral fee. Might be just be 50 quid, but don't just leave it there. Don't just send an email out or just ring them. Tell them you'll call them back later and see how they've got on, and make sure you do call them back as well.
Yeah, that's number one. But landlords know landlords. It's just having that conversation.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, now I can say nurture contact.
I kind of covered this a bit with the funnels, but as well as your funnel, you can provide extra content through like nurturing your leads through your CRM system. So if you've got a good CRM system in place, you can continuously send like thought leadership information and content, things like emails and videos that we spoke about before, brochures, guides, stuff like that, just to not selling all the time, but showing them that you're industry leaders, basically.
Yeah.
Which then, I didn't do that on purpose, but that leads on nicely to this slide, which is becoming a thought leader. I've just noticed we've got a question. Will there be a recording available after the webinar? Yeah, we can send a recording out, and that's no problem. If anyone does have any more questions, feel free to ask, or we've got time at the end as well. And obviously stick around till the end because we'll give you that free giveaway as well.
Yeah. So what is a thought leader, Emma?
A thought leader, basically somebody who is kind of top of their game in the industry that everyone looks up to and sees as an expert. Yeah, that's it kind of in a nutshell, in my words.
So what would you expect them to be doing?
Well, I'll go through the points, shall I? So as a thought leader, a big thing is about writing content. So whether it's for blogs, social posts, writing up a script, for example, for a video, you want to be creating stuff that's your opinion, that you think will happen in the future, that what you think is happening right now, your opinion on anything lettings, basically. You want to be getting your views out there, and it might be controversial sometimes, but you want to kind of give your you want to put your name out there, so you want to be seen and show everyone that you understand the market and you're looking at the market and you're up to date with the market. So
yeah, for me, if I see a really good post on LinkedIn from what you'd class as a thought leader, it shows to me that they're passionate.
Yeah.
Like they really care about what's going on. Like exactly right now with the rent reform bill, like that's huge. People are shouting about it and writing about it. It just shows that they actually care. Yeah. And they're passionate.
Exactly. So being consistent as well. So I think I mentioned this already, but regular posting, your algorithms, it's going to help all of that. So yeah, make sure you're posting regularly. Be on socials, but don't just be on your own socials. You might only have a small following, but also share it into different groups. So especially on like Facebook, for example, there's so many groups out there that's got thousands of people in. You can find local groups to you. You can find property groups. Share your posts in there. Don't just put them on your page. Next podcast. So start your own podcast. We've got a Source Property podcast, which we're actually starting up again soon. But you could start your own podcast, or you could guest speak on other people's podcasts if you don't want to kind of do your own. But yeah, talk about topical things.
Yeah, I think with podcasts, you don't have to just keep in the same box. Like all my career, it's just been I've worked for corporates and we stick together and we only speak to who we work with within that corporate organisation. And I think now, because there's quite a movement of agents going out on their own, or they're looking to bring in, more agents who have got more of finesse of like being this, local expert and this person that they want to create a character. I think you can cross paths with other agents. You don't have to just be in this one box. Like your competitor's your competitor because they're doing well. But what are they doing? By having that communication, not robbing each other's, tips and tricks, but showing that you're joined forces and speaking to somebody who's on the other side of the street doing sales maybe, and you're focusing on lettings. Yeah. That could only enhance the service that you provide for landlords and tenants.
Yeah, and that makes me think of someone that worked, one of our franchisees. I think he's on. Hi, Jason, if you're still there. But he's partnered with a local agent, and he's starting his own lettings business, and he's done a deal with that person, and he's acquired business from that person, because it's not what they want to focus on. Yeah. So you don't know what opportunities will come out of these conversations. Exactly. Your competitor isn't just, like, oh, don't speak to them.
Closed door.
You don't know what could come of it.
Yeah.
Don't over promote as well. So when you're becoming a thought leader, it's not about selling and giving all, this is what we've got to offer, this is what we've got to offer, ramming it down people's throats. You want to be topical and giving something back. You don't want to be over promotional. But that's not to say that you can't do it a little bit. Just don't over promote.
Yeah.
And be human as well. I said it before, people buy from people. people want to be relatable and find you relatable. So show your personality, and not everyone's gonna like everybody. That's fine. There's some big people in the property industry that some people hate, but then they've got a huge following and others love them. So yeah, be human and be yourself. Contribute to guest pieces. So I mentioned this with a podcast before. So don't just think, oh, I've got to start my own podcast. I've got all this to do. You don't prioritize what you want to do. You focus on a couple of these points. You don't need to do them all, but speak to some podcasts that are out there already and see if they'll have you on as a guest, and then you can share that on your own socials or on your website and things like that. You don't need to start all these things up. Just pick a couple of them.
Yeah, you don't have to invent the wheel again.
Yeah, pick a couple of them and focus on them and build it up slowly. Like, don't do everything all at once. Rubbish, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And speak at events as well. So if there's networking events with speaking slots, ask, can you speak? But again, at those events, don't over promote. Talk about topical things, give something back. That is a great way, because you're face to face with people then, and people can see that. Oh, like if you're in a room of people and you get up and speak, people want to speak, come over and speak to you after it.
So enhance the experience for the landlord is something that is really important to us, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And obviously 24/7 call handling could be something that you offer your landlord.
Yeah, it's whatever makes you stand out from the crowd. You could just obviously be your local expert, but obviously what you choose as your local business or as your independent business, what's your USP, what we've touched on, shout about it and make sure it enhances the experience for that landlord, also your tenants as well. Make sure your staff are fully trained, so get the most out of every resource you have in lettings. This is so important. Your staff have got to be experts, and you've got to make sure they're up to date on all legislation. There's over 150 pieces of legislation in lettings.
Yeah,
it's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, you want to make sure that your staff are in the know, and they're the ones that are facing your customers. So, and like Sarah said, they're the biggest resource for you. So whether you have staff or you're doing it alone, make sure you know what you're talking about and you're up to date.
Yeah. Latest prop tech. So don't keep your agents tied up in admin. So this is biggie. You want to be able to make sure that everybody, including yourself and your business, if you're on your own or you've got an agent, that you're not tied up doing the small things that take up so much time. You've got to be really prioritise your time to make sure that you're going out, networking, winning business, generating business, and making sure your team are doing that for you. And having the right tech really helps automate this.
I am obviously operations now, and automation. I might automate everything. So
I think you wish you could automate me.
If you can utilize technology to automate things, just do it. It sometimes can take a while to set up, but once you've set up, it frees up so much time for other things.
Yeah. Personalized service. So keep your CRM, whatever you want to call it, your database. You need to keep that up to date. You need to get to know your customers. Have you got tenants that have been in? They're approaching a year. Send them a little anniversary card or a little box of a gift of local supplies, little cookies. If it's a birthday coming up when they've moved in, Christmas cards. It's we all know this a big event that happens once a year. Just putting a Christmas card through and getting to know your tenants, and same with your landlords as well. They might have bought a couple of more properties since you've last found them a tenant. It's keeping that, how's it going? We're looking at the market, your rent's okay, your tenants are happy, we'll do a mid-term inspection. Have you got any more properties? What have you been up to? It's asking them open questions to a landlord, that you're not ringing them every time to either get money, tell them the rent hasn't come in, or there's an issue with maintenance, you need to keep the conversation going. So when you do pick up the phone to them, it's not bad news that you're delivering all the time. It's just personal service.
I love that.
Keep your website up to date.
Yeah.
This is like a pain for you, isn't it?
I just think when your landlord, if they go to your website and it's not up to date, then it just it shows like,
It shows you.
yeah,
If
and you
your
want to,
website's sloppy, it means your service is sloppy.
yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
And yeah, it doesn't need to take a lot of maintenance. But yeah, I think it's an important point to make because that is your shop front.
Yeah.
Really. I know some of you might have shop fronts, actual physical shop fronts, but websites are where people mainly go to these days, and
Yeah.
you wouldn't have your physical shop front a mess. So why would you have your website a mess?
No, it's true. Good communication. I think that speaks for itself, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, and like you touched on with personal service as well, it's just keeping everyone sweet and happy as well, and
Yeah.
And up to date with if any issues and things like that.
Loyalty programs. This is quite unique in the lettings market.
Yeah.
So basically, once you do an intro only for an intro only landlord, you never see them again.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you, as a lettings manager, as a a lettings director, owning your own business, how do you keep that? How do you keep that transaction coming back more? Granted, that landlord has asked for only an intro only service, but how can you keep them one foot in the door so they still want to come back to you and keep that communication going? Obviously, with lettings, there's a lot of plates that you need to spin, but loyalty programs such as you might offer this service that you just keep the certificates up to date for that landlord just for an extra fee, and he doesn't have to worry. So you found your tenant, but as a little loyalty scheme or a little program or something that you want to do, is that you'll let them know when the certs are up and they're going to expire, or you do them, you enhance obviously his compliance by getting them sorted, and he pays you a one-off fee. It's thinking outside the box to basically make sure that loyalty stands there and stays there with landlords. And notifying them of any regulation changes.
Yeah. Obviously not all landlords are savvy, are they?
No.
They're not all kind of listening out for any changes. This kind of goes back again to good communication. Just keeping them up to date, isn't it?
It might just be a newsletter or an email that you send quarterly, or you get in touch with them every quarter and say, this is happening. The seasons, we live in a country where we have massive seasons that can really hinder on a property. So it's just keeping that communication going and highlighting any regulations that are changing or legislation that's going to affect them in any big way.
Yeah.
So what is our offering to make us successful lettings agents?
So this is kind of, obviously you may be an agent already, but or you might be looking to start your own lettings agency. So obviously, being our webinar, we just wanted to touch on how we can help you become a successful letting agent. And whether you're in lettings or not, you can join Source Living as a franchisee at any point. But yeah, these are just some of the benefits. I'll let Sarah take over.
Yeah. So we do regular face-to-face training events. Like we've just touched on, legislation, regulations, they're all changing. So we need to keep our franchisees up to date. So face-to-face is, it's like classroom environment, and then we also have breakout sessions as well. So it's really important. One-to-one support from a designated support person. So if you do go out on your own, you're not on your own. We don't want you to feel like that. And Source Property Group has got an amazing community with our franchisees that are on the Source Property franchise. So you'd be included in that. But the one-to-one support that you get from your designated person would be monthly or when you need it, really. We've got top prop tech, which is widely used within the industry. So we've got PayProp for accounting software, and you're going to go on to that with our next slides in regards to a partnering, but we are using like widely used prop tech, which is great. Online training platform, which can prepare you for obviously qualifications within the industry, but we're really proud of who we've partnered up with, of Able Agent, in regards to allowing you to train at your leisure online.
And that's really good if you've got employees as well. You can hook them up with Able Agent and then put them through qualifications as well,
Yeah.
can't you?
Establish national branding, including your own local web page, which Emma will keep a tight eye on, a close eye on it, that it's neat and tidy. But yeah, we offer that. Bespoke CRM software. So you might know about our franchise offering, but it's opening up different multiple income streams for our franchisees. So our bespoke CRM software allows you to manage different types of lets successfully and simply, which will take away a lot of the admin from what
Automation.
Automation.
We love it.
A unique flexi-let approach, which I've just touched on, meaning diversity for property owner clients.
Yeah, it is different to other franchises in the industry, isn't it? Having that ability to do service accommodation,
HMO,
or resident, like as well as residential, your normal kind of residential.
Business growth, so we do goal setting and accountability program. Acquisition assistance, which is quite our biggest
really
USP.
powerful,
So we can help to buy your managed portfolio. So if you see a local lettings agent in the area that is not doing so well, or that they want to get out of lettings for whatever reason, they'd be crazy. But we do have that opportunity that we can help, obviously help you with the acquisitions. Or if you know of any retiring landlords, they've had this portfolio from the 80s, 90s, and they've rode, the massive rental wave that they had. And now all this legislation's changing and they think they're too old to go ahead and do it. If that opportunity comes knocking, then we don't want you to go, I haven't got the money in the bank. We want you to come to us, because we can definitely open a door for you and have a conversation. Exclusive property owner leads in your region from Source Property. Our franchise Source Property is ever growing, and there are organic leads that come from that network.
Yeah, they're all hooked up with lots of landlords and things like that. So that's good.
We do regular networking events, so it's really valuable that we're all in a room together, because leads bring leads, and people who know people will refer. So networking is key. And you'd be part of a supportive network of over 220 franchisees, which is huge. So these are just some of our partners that we're really proud to partner up with and have part of our franchise. So Moneypenny is 24/7 call handling, so it takes the pressure off you as a franchisee. You'd be able to go out and do your self-generation, networking, business generation, and you don't have to worry to being tied to that phone. They'll take all the leads and pass them on to you. We're using Homelet for our tenant referencing. Our biggest one is with PayProp is Fixflow. So that's a maintenance app that we're going to be using, which again will take a lot of admin off our franchisees. We've set up a working relationship with VerySmart. So VerySmart conducts inventories and checkouts all over the UK. So you'd be a priority if you were a franchisee of ours. And we can offer insurance through Ascot Insurance. PayProp, we can secure online software, which will take away so much admin. Our tenancy deposits are through the TDS, and we have a shop, so any brochures, business cards, marketing campaigns you want to get printed through, we can do that with our shop relationship. And these are our property portals, so Rightmove for your ASTs, your traditional lets, SA, service accommodation, Expedia, Airbnb, Booking.com, and HMOs we are going to be using spareroom.com as well. So the earning potential that you could get from obviously becoming a franchisee is we can grow it. It is quite good. So in year one, if you do a minimum of 3 lets managed lets per month, comfortably you'd be walking away with 30k. So obviously 3 lets a month in year one would bring in 36 managed occupied units. And as you know, with lettings, it's all about spinning the plates, but making sure your landlords are happy and your tenants are happier. So by maintaining them 36 that you bring on in your first year, in year two, you'd be looking at building that up and doing 5 managed lets in a month, which would bring in 60 additional occupied units. So you'd have 96 managed units, which would bring in £75,000 that year. And then in year 3, by upping it by 6 lets a month, so these are minimum predictions as well, minimum expectations, you'd have an additional 72 managed occupied units on top of your 96, which would bring you in a portfolio of 168 managed portfolio units. And we've comfortably calculated that that would bring 150 grand income. I need to add that these calculations were on an average rent of £950 per month. Now, I don't know if anyone's seen, but Rightmove at the end of last week have said that the average rent in the UK has increased significantly. So that figure of 950 is now around 1,280. So these figures, depending on how busy you want to be and how much you want to grow your portfolio, these figures are minimum expectations of what this our franchise model could actually earn you.
And also, if you're already in lettings and you want to purchase a portfolio, obviously your lets per month could increase massively in year 1 or year 2.
Huge.
Obviously we've got that opportunity there to acquire other management portfolios. So for the next step, so if you've enjoyed today's webinar, and I will give you that freebie in a minute, but if you've enjoyed today's webinar and you're interested in the Source Living opportunity, please book in a call with Sarah by booking in on her Calendly link. There are only so many slots, but in the call, Sarah will see if you're the right fit for us and our network, and then we would look to progress it further. We'd look at like regions and areas that you're interested in servicing as well. So hopefully we can squeeze you in on a call soon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. And the free handout. So all those that are still here, we can see, we get a report at the end of this. So we'll be sending you out the free goal setting / sales conversion close rate calculator to kind of work back how many leads you're going to need to hit your goals, along with our prospectus in case you've not had our prospectus before as well. So yeah, have you got any questions?
Just having a read or so.
So I don't think it's just the questions from earlier.
Yeah.
Any other questions, anybody? Really appreciate everybody's time.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone.
Any questions? How much? Yeah, we thought that might come up. So if you are interested in the franchise opportunity, you're very welcome to get on a call with Sarah, and she'll go through all the costs. It just depends on you and your experience as well. So yeah, book in a call with Sarah and we'll see. Thanks, Keishan. Very useful. I'm glad you've got some good golden nuggets from it. Do you have to use PayProp? I assume that's PayProp.
Yeah.
So yeah, the systems are set up to use PayProp if you are a Source Living franchisee. It all is integrated in with our CRM system.
Yeah.
Have you got an issue with PayProp, or is there a reason you wouldn't want to use PayProp?
Also, if you did join the franchise and you already had an existing portfolio, obviously you could bring that portfolio over to under the franchise. PayProp is expensive. Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but that is part of the 250 plus VAT a month, which if you book a call in with me, I can explain in a little bit more detail.
So yeah, all the kind of systems that we have in place for the Source Living franchisees, they're all covered in your ongoing fee. which can be discussed with Sarah. So things like pay prop, the 24/7 call handle, trying to think, fixed flow.
Yeah.
This is Rightmove. It's all within the cost. So if you're a current letting agent, we consolidate all those costs for you. And you can kind of move over to our systems. If you're new or wanting to start your own lettings business, obviously it's a lettings business in a box.
Thanks, Julie. Yeah, so Julie's just said that she's got some great tips from here today. Thanks, Julie. Block management, is that something that is covered or will be in the future? It most probably will be in the future, but it's something that we are putting on the back burner for now. But it will be something that we could most probably pick up down the line. But I can speak to you one-on-one, Julie, if you had any questions about how you could manage a block management.
Any more questions before we wrap it up?
Thanks, Julie. Right.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much. Great overview. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming on and asking the questions, and hope to speak to you soon. Thanks very much.
Take care.